coming on. So bring it out here. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Fun Show here at Big TV. This is the December 9th edition of the Fun Show.
What is this, about a 788th show?
Our show.
Yeah.
Neither one of us could count.
786, I think, maybe. All right.
That's 86. That would make it 23 years ago, or
Yeah.
no,
No.
33.
No, I said 786.
Oh, 786. I thought you meant 1986.
No, we were old.
We don't remember when we started. That's how old we are. But in any case, we're back again. We greet you all. We welcome you. Michael Sallin is sitting in his accustomed position behind the Kira keyboard.
Yes,
And finding
keyboard.
some seasonal music in there. He was playing a nice Hanukkah song just before we came on. And
A friend of mine at the Garland House said to me, why are you sitting in a hole all the time?
oh, we'll have to get you a bigger chair. Is that what it is?
I have to get something to sit on so they can see me.
Well, why don't you just hit the lever on the side?
I did hit
And
it.
that's as high as you'll
That's
go.
when-
That's
down.
when it sank.
Thanks.
You're not supposed to pull the plug on your submarine when we're about to go on the air. But, all right, so what was I saying? Michael Sallin, our host and director, is over there. I'm Arch O'Reilly, and we're delighted to say that we're joined once again by Susan Harrington. Welcome back, Susan.
you.
Welcome back, Susan. Nice to see you. You look great.
Oh, thank you.
You look,
do.
you look festive on things.
Yeah, I think so.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this, you live in Brookline.
And if
I
you
hope that you also vote in Brookline. Tomorrow there is an election in Brookline. Yes,
I'm
December
voting.
10th there is actually an election.
I'm going to
It's a
vote.
special election. It has to do with spending a great deal of money
on another
to
school.
replace the Driscoll School.
Yeah.
Now, there are good people. I hate to sound like Donald Trump, but there are good people who are trying to tell you to vote yes, and good people who are trying to tell you to vote no.
Oh, they're perfect people.
You really
That's
should
what-
sort of look into it. I will be voting tomorrow. I will be voting yes. However, I admit that the leadership of Brookline schools, both elected and hired, does not fill one with overwhelming confidence that it will be done correctly. But on the other hand, if we don't do anything, I mean, there is a way to solve this problem of overpopulation, which is to let our schools go down the tubes so nobody wants to send their kids there anymore.
No, we have 2 sessions.
Huh?
We go to 2 sessions every day.
Yeah,
you know.
you've done that in the past.
Yes, we've done that. Yeah.
No, but the thing is, you can just let them get overcrowded and let them be bad, and people
They're
won't
not
want to.
bad. They're good.
They won't want to send. I said, let them get bad.
Oh, I don't want them to get
People
bad.
won't send their kids to the school. The population will go down. Our taxes won't go up. And of course, maybe our taxes will go up because our property values will fall right through the floor.
You think that Tom will leave us with that great big estate? He said he's going to go away from it.
Well,
What, with the Patriots? or
it does
not? I don't
appear,
know.
it does unfortunately appear that
He's
his splendid career
Is
is
coming.
coming towards the tail end of it. However, yesterday he was robbed.
Yes, I have to
Yesterday
agree
he
with
was
you.
robbed. I mean, I have rarely ever seen clearer instances of they're just taking touchdowns away and saying, no.
They were dumb about it too. They
they were-
showed it on television.
They were terrible calls. You know?
The
Guy's out of bounds, and they claim the guy's out of bounds, and his foot was that far from the line. You know, it was
a whole
ridiculous.
bunch. And then that time when he dropped one
Oh yeah, the
Gilmore.
scoop and score. Yeah.
yeah, he was almost down to the end zone there.
Yeah,
And they
it-
said, "Oh,
it-
you have to call it
it was
back
so-
now."
Anyway, so tomorrow is an election in Brookline of the Driscoll
Patriots
School,
lost.
and Kira's not here to do her necrology. Kira has absorbed the necrology on time.
She tells about
So,
everybody who passed away. That's
So
famous.
Susan and I are going to share it because I'm
Okay.
going to mention the closest to home is Pete Frates. If anyone out there doesn't know the name Pete Frates, he's the former BC baseball player who had ALS disease and inspired and led the Ice Bucket Challenge, which raised over $200 million for research on things. At the age of 34, he passed away, unfortunately.
34.
And then we have another Massachusetts person, Carol Spinney.
Very good.
And I'm sure that most of you do not recognize the name Carol Spinney, but he was Big Bird.
Big Bird.
Big Bird.
84. I think.
84 years
Yeah,
old.
too.
He was Big
I
Bird.
liked him, yeah.
And then the most influential economist in recent history in the United States, chairman of the Federal Reserve through most of the 80s, Paul Volcker.
Yeah.
And now for the entertainment field.
Oh,
Yes.
well, Rene Auberjonois
Yeah.
was in Benson. He was also, he played the Reverend Mulcahy in the movie Man.
Ah,
And he was in Star Trek. I was not a Star Trek follower, but he
Yeah.
was apparently some gelatinous creature that lived in a bucket. And then Ernest Gaines, who wrote A Lesson Before Dying. And then the man who wrote the song Deo. And Ron Liebman, who was married to Jessica Walters. He was in. He had a TV show about a. He played on Friends. He played Rachel's father. And a lot of people remember him for that.
Yeah.
And then I missed somebody. Oh well, no, the other one was.
Well, he had at least one Tony Award, so he did better.
That's right.
work
He won a
than that.
Tony Award. No, well, Rene Auberjonois won a Tony.
He
for-
won a Tony too.
Yeah, but he played opposite Katharine Hepburn in Coco.
Really?
good.
So he was around for a while.
Yeah.
Well, has
So
anybody
that's
seen
all.
that
He-
new movie?
His relatives were famous too, because one was, I think, a painter, and another one was a
Yes,
big politician, and his son is an actor.
He had a
Remy.
long and successful career,
Yeah.
and nobody can pronounce his name.
Well,
You're doing a fine
Yes.
job.
He
I
did
threw it to you because I can't
Yeah.
pronounce his name. So he said
Was
other
it
things.
Smith or something? No.
Anyway, the last thing I want to throw in at this particular moment was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful nativity set up by a Methodist church in Claremont, California.
Oh,
They have an outdoor nativity scene, and it's 3 chain link fence enclosures. Joseph in one, Mary in one, Jesus in one.
I heard
They're
about
making a
this.
statement
yes.
on things. And I say hallelujah to you. At least there are still some churches that understand the basic principles of
Yeah.
Christianity. And one can count on the fact, do not support Donald Trump and Stephen Miller and Betsy DeVos. And the only problem with starting a list like that, there's no end to it.
There's no end.
There's no end to it.
But New Year's is coming. Maybe they'll make some kind of a promise. You know, something that you do every year. You tell us.
Oh, a New Year's resolution? Yeah.
Maybe they'll make.
And what
a
do I tell you
resolution.
every year?
Yeah.
I've never made a New Year's resolution
That's
in
what
my
he
life.
says. Every year he says the same thing. He says, "What's the resolutions this year?" And he said, "Let's go." You know? And on the other side of the microphone, people are saying, "Oh,
Here we go again.
yeah, okay."
Well, the people who've watched us for a long time, we really have no secrets because we essentially have no filter on this show.
No,
you know?
no, and they can't
So-
go back and piece it together. It's live. Okay,
So, Susan, you had some news about this wonderful show that we were following
The
for the
Irishman.
last couple of years.
The Irishman I saw. That's new. That's-
Yes, and why did you cut me off?
Oh, I thought, were you going to bring that up?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you were.
No.
Oh.
No, I was going to ask Susan about her great success story.
Oh, let's hear the great success story.
Yes.
Well, the show that we did, Who Will Sing for Lena,
Yes.
that won our state, then our regional, then our national competition,
Right.
has been invited to Florida this summer, to Venice, Florida, to the World Fest.
The World Fest.
Yeah.
Local, regional, national, and now world. That's as high as you can go.
Yeah.
Do you
Congratulations.
think you'll make it way up there?
We have. They've been invited.
Oh,
We've been invited, so we're guests, which means they put us up, they feed us.
And you can
Can't get any
swim.
better than that.
You,
can-
you don't have to beg money to get this.
No, all we have to do is get ourselves to Venice. Well, actually, they said either fly into Tampa or
Lauderdale?
no,
No,
Sarasota or I think
Sarasota?
Yeah, they told us to fly into one of two cities, and then we will be staying with guest families who will feed us breakfast and get us to the theater.
Wow.
And then everything else is their ticket.
You know my rule. I haven't set foot in Florida since they gave the presidency to W. Bush. All right, The Irishman, which is a interesting tale theoretically about Jack Kennedy. Is that what it's about?
No, it's not. Actually,
I think it is. I think it's about
it's
the
not.
Kennedy administration.
it's not the Kennedy administration. It's about a bunch of gangsters in New York.
Oh,
But The Irishman they're talking about is Jack Kennedy. Didn't you get that?
I know, but that's not what the movie's about. Didn't you get that?
Well, I didn't see the movie.
because
but-
isn't this the one that Scorsese did, right?
Yeah, and he's got
And
all
he's
his,
got
he's got all
his
of his old
homeboys in
people.
it.
Yeah, all
Yeah,
his
everybody's
homeboys.
in it.
That's
And they already have it listed for the big show that's coming, where they'll win a medal.
For the
one of
Oscar?
those- What?
They think it's they mean the Oscars or the Golden
Yeah, it's
Globe?
already listed as a possible.
Oh wow.
oh, that's
It is
standard
close.
advertising,
Yeah.
right?
It was in good.
Talking about new movies, there's this movie that what's his name has made about the Atlanta bombing.
Oh yeah,
Clint Eastwood.
Clint.
Clint Eastwood,
He looks terrible.
who seems to have gone a little bit out of his mind. Clint Eastwood has grown up to be Oliver Stone for some reason. But in people talking about this movie, you know, it's basically the movie
true
is
story.
basically to convince us that the guy everybody thought planted the bomb didn't plant
Didn't
the
plant
bomb.
the bomb.
But in talking about the movie, they contended that he had been definitively cleared, which is something I never heard.
Yeah.
I never heard
Do
it.
you
either.
remember ever
No.
hearing that?
I remember him trying to get cleared.
So was he cleared in the script, or was he cleared in fact?
Supposedly, in fact, he was cleared, and they're just about. They're somewhere in Atlanta.
Yeah.
They're laying a memorial to him. They're
Really?
dedicating something to him.
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand, in a sense, why I never heard that this rather significant thing. Oops, we got it wrong.
Yeah,
you
well,
know?
that's why, because nobody wants to admit to an oops.
Well, I don't
bad.
know. The judicial oopses seem
Yeah.
to be coming fast and furious these
Right.
days.
Right.
As a matter of fact, there's an awful lot of prosecutors in the United States
Boy, are there on television? That's all I see.
who wish that DNA had never been discovered. Right?
They're getting plenty of work out of this with that. What do they call that event that they're trying to hang on Mr. Trump? It's called an impeachment.
That's not an event, but that's all right.
It's
a
going to
process.
be. Well, they're gonna.
Well, we got to impeach this guy.
Do you think they'll get it through?
Oh, yes, of course.
They have to.
Of course.
Of
course.
The Republicans in the
Probably
Senate.
this week.
I mean, if anything, it shows you how crazy the Republicans are. They're absolutely crazy.
When the House votes, he's impeached. That's it. He's
That's-
not removed. That's what the Senate's for. And will the Senate remove him? No, because there, as we have often said, there is not one scintilla of an ounce of integrity in the
No
entire
backbone,
Republican
sir.
Party.
No backbone.
I'm sorry, Charlie, I like you, but I don't know how in the world you can call yourself a Republican. So they'll do whatever they say.
That's you on there, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's talking to Charlie Baker, right?
Yeah.
CB.
Yeah, I
How
like
many Cecil
Charlie.
B. DeMille?
You know, that's an interesting thing. There's an election coming up where our state people, isn't it next year? don't we elect a governor next year, or is it
I think it's
another
next
two?
year, yeah. Next year, well, I think.
Anyway, we have an election coming up, and it's interesting to note that I haven't heard a single Democrat say even the slightest hint that they intend to run for governor. You know,
You might decide you want to run. I'll back you on
nah,
that.
nah.
Oh, I'll send you some
My
money,
running
you
days
know.
are over.
Okay.
I don't even run if you chase me these days.
Well,
so
I don't
you set
know.
up
I don't know if I'll chase you. No.
well, maybe if you chase me, I could.
I'll never make it. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the Big TV Unrehearsed Thespian Society's presentation
Okay.
for this evening, which in retrospect turns out to be an incredibly bigoted play.
It's conservative. Oh, he's so tough on me all the time.
And, well, you know, it tells you what happens in 14 years, right?
Okay, yeah.
And various changes of administration, one thing or another. And it is called Guest Worker. Hey, a new family moved in.
Big deal.
Hey, they only speak Spanish.
Answer in English. They'll learn.
Becoming citizens is the goal.
Wait a second. Suppose they're illegal immigrants.
Could be guest workers.
We don't live in the Southwest, man.
And it's a little late for apple picking.
We've got people out of work.
Everybody wants to live here.
Well, that's their problem.
Vincente Fox says it's ours.
Isn't he the Mexican president?
Well, they claim illegals only do jobs that Americans don't want to do.
We need better border security.
But the president isn't hiring Border Patrol.
That's because the Iraq war is costing big bucks.
Don't forget Katrina and the Gulf.
So who's minding the Rio Grande?
And what about interior repatriation?
Weren't they invited?
Glad I'm not an immigration agent.
Huh, you don't even speak Spanish.
And vigilantes have stepped up.
The Rio Grande isn't tough to cross these days.
You're right. It's not like an inner tube from Cuba.
Catch and return.
We send those Mexicans back to their homes.
Or to crowded detention centers.
Expedited removal, it's called.
We release some.
Give them a court date to report back.
Yeah, and lots of them just disappear.
Undocumented.
And then there's anchor citizenship.
Yeah, if an illegal mother has her child here,
I thought they were guests.
Yes, and what about hospitality for our neighbors?
funny you should say that.
The baby allows the rest of Mexican family to enter.
Reunification means citizenship for all.
Well, the newspaper says there are 11 million illegals here, and you know they're not all Mexicans.
What about those high-tech detection systems?
Yes, to apprehend those violating the law.
Is the president offering amnesty to the ones who are already here?
Well, he wants reform.
A temporary workers program.
Temporary? For how long?
3 years with tamper-proof ID.
Illegals might have to pay a penalty,
But no naturalization.
whatever that is.
Meanwhile, who pays for the unemployment
That's
and the
it.
medical?
Medical.
What about the school for kids?
I say seal the border.
Build a wall? That's crazy.
Deportation proceedings are tough enough.
And if the illegal immigrant decides to appeal,
Non-Mexicans can be sent back after 32 days.
and don't forget they have kids in public schools.
Oh, yeah. They're poor and they've been living here.
Well, they better go to private school, college.
No tuition break, says the lieutenant governor.
No wonder all the governors in the Southwest are complaining.
The military could secure the borders.
But they're busy in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Well, Senators McCain and Kennedy have an idea.
Workers without papers would get a 3-year visa.
Visa.
And it's renewable for another 3.
A little like the president's plan.
After 6 years, they can apply for citizenship.
That's in the senator's bill.
And 400,000 essential workers visas.
At the low end of our economy, they're also renewable, you know.
You can guess what kind of labor is involved.
Yeah. And this they call hard-headed realism.
We can hardly do without these millions of people.
How about mandatory English?
Yeah. What? Bilingual education.
Certainly, more money for adult language classes, ESL stuff, you know.
And the president is willing to consider changes.
Since when?
How can we be welcoming and enforcing the law at the same time?
Some would deny citizenship to kids of illegals.
That's a constitutional right.
Business leaders like guest worker programs.
Sure, it's cheap labor for restaurants, hotels, construction, chicken ranches.
It costs to put a rein on all of this.
Is there an answer?
Yeah, just say it's solved.
Irreconcilable.
The country's split over it.
I'm not sure we aren't too.
Oh, well, I think we could be.
How honest is the national census?
And now there's sham marriages.
Passport fraud?
It's all conspiracy to gain citizenship.
Where will it end?
We have to do better.
I guess.
So don't give up on your neighbors.
More help, more trust.
And you know what? Even Russell Crowe speaks English with a Spanish accent.
Blackout. Well, there's another great.
Spanish, Australian, what's the difference?
Another great.
Said on this is,
We're not winning any prizes either
who, what?
for putting on all these plays every week. Nobody seems to care.
No prizes, you wanted an Emmy?
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
could send us
we-
one of those old Thanksgiving pies or something. There's a bunch of them hanging around in the banks, they tell me.
Okay, you want mincemeat or you want pumpkin?
Mince.
Mincemeat.
They don't make them anymore, mincemeat.
No, that's true. What did we have? We had apple, pecan, and
That's right, apple,
and pumpkin.
pecan. Okay.
And I like my group at Thanksgiving because people say, "Well, I'll have a little piece of each."
Yeah.
Well, the FBI finally, they found out that they weren't guilty of any of these bad things at the president's.
what?
Well, it's all this bad stuff he's been bad-mouthing about the.
Oh, all his accusations
Yeah,
about how they were
terrible
out to get
things he's
him and it
been
was
saying about
political
them.
and et cetera, et
and
cetera.
now this.
Now the inspector general said, no,
It's not true.
not true,
They didn't do these things.
not true. It's not going to slow him down.
But the what's his name, Mr. Beer or Bean? The Attorney General.
yeah.
I can't remember his last name. But anyways, he says he's going to reinvestigate this whole.
He's really terrible, you know. He's really terrible.
He's
I mean, you know, that little sawed-off runt who was in there before we thought was as bad as it
Sessions.
could get, and this guy is worse.
Sessions was better.
William, what is his name?
Sessions.
No, this guy, William something or
Oh,
other.
Bean.
No, he's a disgrace.
He is a.
But there again, there's nobody in this administration who isn't a disgrace. You know,
And then
they are so absolutely down the line. Every single person they hire who's high enough to be heard of
Yeah.
is an absolute disgrace. Now the funny thing is, in 2021, none of these people are going to be able to get a job anywhere. Where are they going to go to? Ukraine to go to work?
well, they study Ukrainian. It's close to Russian, and then if they don't make a job there, they
Maybe
go
they
on.
can. Maybe they can get a job from Kim Jong Un.
Yeah, well,
Who's now
busy.
unhappy.
He's busy building more rockets and stuff.
He's firing rockets.
Yeah,
There's a
he's
lot of
firing
complaints
them, and the
about that.
president says, "Nah,
He said-
we're lovebirds or something." He says,
He said Trump's just an old impatient man.
"That's all."
You know.
But I don't like it though.
I have a question. The thing that I've got two observations. Do you remember chlorophyll?
Chlorophyll.
Remember when every product on the market had chlorophyll
Chlorophyll.
in it? You know.
And they
And
found out.
deodorants and toothpaste and soap and chewing gum and everything had chlorophyll. It was such a fad. They put chlorophyll in everything.
Everything.
You know what the current equivalent of that is? CBD. If you start looking, you'll see CBD
In
in everything you can think of.
Yeah.
You know, they're putting it in face cream and
I
you know,
stopped using it myself.
You stopped using it?
Yeah.
But now that's supposed. I still don't understand exactly what it is.
I'm not sure. It's some extract of grass.
Oh, okay.
But on the farms they like it.
And
Okay.
what it's our former tight end,
Oh,
Gronkowski.
Gronkowski.
Yeah, I almost named him Gorbachev.
Well, that's close. Yeah.
He's a big proponent
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, he
but
likes-
the only thing that's funny to me is they're putting it in anything. You know, anything that they can
Why not?
can put it in.
What-
And my last question to consider is why is it? I was watching these hearings today, and I've watched some of the other hearings and things, and I've heard press conferences and stuff. Why is it that no competent and credible attorney can be found to work for the Republicans? I have concluded that perhaps their best lawyer is Rudy Giuliani, which is a pretty big condemnation.
Yes.
Right.
They need a lot of work in these little food shops, you know. These
I mean,
people,
I
the
can't-
lawyers are busy, you know.
I can't imagine. Maybe they all graduated from Liberty.
Well, I wouldn't
Maybe
say.
that's it.
Now,
You
what,
know?
what about
Why don't
Nancy?
they try out Michelle Bachmann to represent
What about
them?
Nancy taking on that news person there?
Oh,
Oh, that was cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
what-
was cool.
And she said, I don't know about this, though. She said, it's what makes a good Catholic when you don't hate.
You don't hate people.
You don't hate
Right.
people. Then somebody says to me, what about abortion?
What about what?
Abortion. She's a good Catholic. What do
Well,
we dare?
abortion ain't a people.
Okay. Thanks. All right.
There's an old saying that addresses that directly, Michael.
Okay.
Hate the sin, not the sinner.
Very good. Hate
Right?
the sin, not the
Right?
sinner.
Hate the sin, not the sinner.
So then what about Hunter Biden? Do you think he
What
was
about
right
Hun-
to go
what
to
about
that
Hunter Biden?
company over there?
Hunter Biden doesn't belong in the news any more than Barron Trump belongs in
If
the
we
news.
if we talk about it, it's gone and forgotten about everywhere. It's better to bring it out.
Oh,
You know that
Oh, you mean this is the rule? If you and I talk about something on air, it disappears?
it
Like
disappears.
the Red Sox?
Get over it. That's what Mr. Trump says all the time. Get over it.
Can't get over it.
Yeah.
Well, now Mr. Ted Cruz is now out taking a very firm stand that it was the Ukrainians that interfered in the 2016
and
election.
not the Russians?
No, it wasn't
No,
the Russians.
no, they're now they're not only covering for Trump, they're now doing everything in their power to cover for Vladimir Putin.
That's right.
In other words, his vassal is now telling his vassals to cover for the boss.
See, but what you don't know is that this Russian is planning to take over Australia because it's big in the middle of the
Australia?
Australia. The middle of the country is dry. There's nobody wants to live in the middle there. They have all kinds of droughts.
Which is called what, Michael?
A drought.
No. The middle of Australia is called what?
Oh, I know. Yeah,
The outback.
that's a restaurant also.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, it is.
Okay. Well, we're getting close.
And ironically, it's one of the restaurants in this country that gives a lot of money to Trump.
That's right. Outback does.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
But
What else?
anyway, I think, frankly, it would be easier at the present moment for Putin to take over the United States than to take over Australia.
Yeah,
I think Australia would stand up for itself.
they got a
Right.
lot of alligators that
And
don't
I
like
mean-
him.
And I mean, this administration has already rolled over, put their legs in the air, is in a supine position.
Well, I hope that our friend Trump does something about the poor farmers that are losing their farms.
Yeah, he's doing something to them. He's going to take their farms from them. He's going to make them lose.
But they like him still.
No.
Yes, they do.
Well, he is trying to buy them because he's taking a whole bunch of money that hasn't been appropriated
Right.
because he's
We know a lot
totally
about that.
disdainful of the Constitution
Okay.
to pay off the farmers who are being hurt by his trade wars.
Okay. Well,
And he claims he's doing it from the tariff money, right?
that's right.
Which China is paying, he keeps saying,
And
which is total bull.
boo,
You know,
boo.
total bull.
That's right.
You
Well,
know?
Say goodbye.
but he does want to pay them for the makeup. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We're not quite sure if we're going to be here next week. We hope so. And then we will take a short hiatus, which happens to conform with Hanukkah and Christmas. So let us have the opportunity, in case, to wish each and every one of you a happy Hanukkah, a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and we are sure
Kwanzaa.
that we will see you in January 2020.
What's a
Good night from the Fun Show
And
at
a nice
Big TV.
hiatus to you, too. Okay.
What?
I wished everybody a nice hiatus. It's a Jewish word, okay.
A hiatus?